The Supreme Court will end its term on Thursday with a pair of decisions. One of them could have major implications for the Justice Department. The decision involves a case accusing Arizona of enacting voter laws that resulted in discrimination in violation of the Voting Rights Act. The court's opinion could potentially derail a new suit the DOJ filed on Friday against the state of Georgia. Pointing to the same part of the Voting Rights Act, Attorney General Merrick Garland said a new election law enacted by Republicans there intended to disenfranchise voters of color.
The Department of Justice is suing the state of Georgia. Our complaint alleges that recent changes to Georgia's election laws were enacted with the purpose of denying or abridging the right of Black Georgians to vote on account of their race or color in violation of Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act.
The lawsuits come as Republican-led state legislators have introduced hundreds of restrictive voting bills in the wake of the 2020 election. Someone who has been on the front lines of the national battle over election integrity is Georgia's Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger. He joins me now from Johns Creek, Georgia, outside of Atlanta. Secretary Raffensperger, welcome. It's so great to have you with us. The Justice Department's lawsuit is by far the most significant case facing Georgia, but there are numerous suits from other organizations arguing a similar premise, that Georgia's new law enacting drop box restrictions and earlier deadlines for absentee ballots disproportionately impacts Black voters. Do you see any merit in the arguments they are raising?
See absolutely no merit in any of it. If you look at the SB 202 that we passed in the General Assembly, it is very balanced and measured. We're actually going to be moving away from signature match, which was a very subjective measure, and moving towards driver's license number and photo ID for absentee ballot voters. It's the same process that they're currently using up in Minnesota with the Democrat Secretary of State and also Democrat governor. Good policy.
Now, as you're aware, Georgia was previously one of several states subject to pre-clearance of any proposed changes to voting laws. The DOJ says that from 1968 to 2013, Georgia failed that test 177 times. Are those issues which were raised no longer a problem in Georgia?
We have record registration. We've had record voter turnout. Anyone that wants to register to vote can. They just have to be a resident of Georgia, American citizen, but it's very easy to register. Many people register when they move to Georgia and get a driver's license number. And then if you look at our early voting, we have now 17 days of mandatory early voting uniform across the state. And any county that wants to have Sunday voting can have 2 Sundays of early voting. So that's just really a record beater there. That leads the nation. And then look at on Election Day, the turnouts that we have, and we actually defeated the whole issue of long lines here in Georgia. Last November, our average wait time in the afternoon was a 2-minute wait time. I screenshot it because it was just a tremendous victory for our team working with our counties.
So the new law in question, Senate Bill 202, gives state Republican officials authority to take over county election boards. Are you worried about that partisan weight?
Well, the state election board doesn't want to take over any county. But when you have a county such as Fulton County that has been having issues since 1993, we went back and looked after the June primary of 2020. We found articles in the AJC going all the way back to 1993. And that's systemic. And that is just management failure. And it's not just the people in the county. It affects the entire state when it's your largest county. So if action needs to be taken, it'll be taken, obviously, with the rule of law, be taken with, very cautiously, soberly, but also it'll be done thoroughly to make sure that we can improve a county. But the state election board has no intention of taking over counties unless they continually and habitually fail.
But this is curious, sort of your focus now on Fulton County, your investigation into Fulton County, which does hold the bulk of Atlanta over this, potential rules violation. The Fulton County Commission chairman says, and I quote, "It appears Secretary of State Raffensperger is laying the groundwork for a hostile takeover of Fulton County's Board of Registrations and Elections. His comrades in this fight are conspiracy theorists who promote the same big lie that he purportedly does not believe. The votes have been counted 3 times, including a hand recount, and President Biden came out ahead every time. Given the results in 2020, I would suggest he focus more on the next election than relitigating this last one." And Secretary, you said yourself that your office found nothing out of the ordinary in Fulton or any other county. And to many observers, you appeared to be one of the last bastions of reason during the recounts. So on what basis exactly are you opening this investigation into Fulton County?
Well, there's no investigation at all that's ongoing right now, other than the ones we have. We're not opening up new investigations. What I would caution everyone to realize is that although we had a monitor there and he gave us valuable information and he saw no illegality or any ballot stuffing, what he did see was gross mismanagement. And what that gross mismanagement does is it creates concern on voters and it really hurts voter confidence. And also it just makes itself a fertile breeding ground for all these conspiracy theories. So it's very important that counties get their act together. This has been going on in Fulton County since 1993. It's now 2021. I think that enough time has passed that they need to fix their issues. Now, also, as it relates to what the chairman said, I won't be taking over anything because that is the state election board chairman and the voting members of that board, and I am not a voting member of the board. So we're just, making sure that we have fair and honest elections in Georgia, and everyone that shows up to vote can do so in a timely fashion and know that their vote counts accurately, and the process is well run.
And yet last week, a judge dismissed the majority of a lawsuit alleging voter fraud in Fulton County, but not all of it. On the table is still a request to see the mail-in ballots there. The plaintiff argues the ballots were not folded as required by the state. You have supported the audit of ballots in Fulton County, but you haven't granted access to those ballots. Why is that?
That's not us. Fulton County has custody of all of those ballots there, and that's really a lawsuit of the litigant versus Fulton County. We are not a participant in that lawsuit, so we don't have access to those ballots. That's really between Fulton County. You'd have to get them on and see what they have to say about it.
So, of course, as you've been saying, and also you told the New York Times, the #1 issue that we are facing in elections nationwide, from your perspective, is voter confidence. 3 audits and a hand recount did little to change public perception. Why do you think that these new laws will change public perception?
Well, as it relates to the absentee ballot process, what we're going to be doing is something very similar to what they're using in Minnesota. It's very objective. So whenever we can put in objectivity instead of subjectivity, I think that's a good thing for the election process. It also really helps the election administration. The election administrators, they like objectivity. They like to know exactly what they're supposed to do in all situations. With driver's license numbers, photo ID, it's very objective. And so that'll be a big improvement. Making sure that counties have to keep lines shorter than 1 hour. That's a good process to help really give the voters a better experience as they're moving through the line. So those are the processes that we've looked at, very good election management or also voter engagement processes.
And as someone who has championed election legitimacy and integrity at a personal cost, do you see a disconnect in trying to assure Georgians of a secure election while also saying more restrictions are needed and having the governor sign those into law behind closed doors?
Well, I believe that if you look at the absentee ballot improvements, that's a good thing. To making sure that we keep lines shorter than 1 hour, that's another good thing. And to make sure that as it relates to the absentee ballot timetable, before we made this bill, the changes in the bill, someone could request an absentee ballot the Friday before the election. If they did, they were never going to receive that absentee ballot. So we set a window 10 days out prior to the election so that they could get their application in, the county could process it, send them the ballot, and the ballot could come back. That makes sure that everyone that wants an absentee ballot can get it back in time so they know that their vote will count.
So what do you think the Justice Department is not getting or misunderstands about the way elections are held in Georgia that it's bringing this lawsuit?
Well, there's been a lot of progressives and liberals in the DOJ over the years that never liked photo ID. They've been fighting that. They've been fighting any common sense election reforms from day one that we've been hearing since 2019. And obviously, we're going to continue to push back on that. What their total agenda is, they don't give us the inside scoop. You'd have to really look at their internal emails, and maybe that would give you your answer.
And you have criticized fellow Republicans for championing the cause of election reform now, after years of inaction when the GOP actually had control of Washington. What do you still want to see from your party on this issue?
Well, one of the biggest issues we have is our federal laws that don't allow us to virtually update our voter rolls during election year. The last time we did this prior to 2021 was in February of 2020. But then 90 days out before you have your primary, you cannot do any updating of your voter rolls. Then we roll into a primary runoff, so we can't go update the voter rolls. So in effect, for the rest of the year, we can't update our voter rolls. Meanwhile, 10% of all Americans move every year. So we had 250,000 people move into Georgia, about 235,000 move out of Georgia. That's a lot of dynamic movement. That's 500,000 people that they changed on the voter rolls. When they move in, we can register them very quickly, obviously, when they get their driver's license. But when they move out, they don't give us a call and let us know that they moved out. And so your list becomes very out of date quickly. And so that would be our big improvement if we could update the voter rolls on a continuous basis using objective measures.
Considering the fact that there is so little fraud that is actually discovered, any meaningful fraud in elections, why, though, tighten so many of these restrictions when, there are so many people for whom, getting IDs can be difficult, for, who live in poverty and just getting around can be difficult? Why not make it easier for all of those people to vote rather than more difficult?
Well, about 10 years ago, we brought in photo ID, and some of these same arguments were made that people wouldn't have access to some kind of photo identification. And lo and behold, over 90% of all Georgians had driver's license numbers. And that cuts across both sides of the aisle and all demographic groups. And so what you've seen is that it did not discourage in-person voting with a photo ID. But also the state of Georgia said, if you don't have that identification, bring a power bill, or we'll actually give you a state-issued ID. And those are the same rules that we put in place for the new absentee ballot changes. And so we're just really making sure that voters are treated the same, whether they vote absentee, vote in person early, or vote on Election Day.
All right, Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.